The Full Circle Podcast. Compelling interviews and incredible tales from Colorado's Western Slope, from the mountains to the desert. Christi Reese and her team hear from the movers, shakers, and characters of the Grand Valley and surrounding mountain towns that make the Western Slope the place we all love. You'll learn, you'll laugh, you'll love with The Full Circle. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Full Circle Podcast. It's been a while. We didn't have a podcast in December, so I'm excited. It's January 2026, and we're here with Will Hayes, the president of Hilltop Community Resources. Welcome, Will.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, we wanted to have you with us again because you were one of our Circle Fund recipients in the past, and we are having a big event next week. And so we've been thinking about all of our organizations that we have given to and the good work that has happened, not just because of our funds, but everything that's going on in the community. And we wanted to talk about the new facility downtown and reiterate to people the services that you offer there, because as we talked about in our last podcast, I think a lot of people, they hear the name Hilltop Community Resources, but they don't know, is this something I can use? Something that my friend can use? How do I walk in the door downtown? That kind of thing. So I guess let's start with the move and the move in. The remodel.
Yep. Well, and first, thank you for such a privilege to be a recipient, and we're actually a two-time recipient. I think we were one of the first recipients when you guys started with our Latimer House, our domestic violence services.
That's right. Yes.
So this is a huge milestone, and I'm glad you're celebrating. It deserves to be celebrated. There are not a lot of companies that are doing what you're doing that's having this direct of an impact on the community. So thank you for that, first of all. Yeah, the new building. So we moved in a little over a month ago, I guess. Month and a half or so ago. It was in phases because they were still doing construction as we were moving in, of course, because we were ready to get in. But it has been amazing so far. The way it's impacted our culture for all of us as employees. So we have about 100 employees in there now, and consolidated 4 different buildings and campuses into one. So one, we've had some savings doing that, obviously, and we have those on the market, trying to get rid of those as part of how we pay for the building. But for me personally, being in administration, and before we were in a segregated administration building, has been a game changer for me, because I'm really back in a day-to-day basis, one, with the people that are doing the day-to-day work and the hands-on work, but then also with the people we're serving. So to your question, when we were first looking at moving down there and people said, yeah, but are you sure it's going to be a good place to serve those people? It's like, okay, well, I'm not sure what you mean by those people, but if you want to know, let's walk out on Main Street and look up and down Main Street, because the people that are walking up and down on the street are the people actually that we serve. So whether you're experiencing intimate partner violence, which unfortunately the numbers continue to rise, and it's been particularly bad on the Western Slope right now for some reason. And a lot of violence involving weapons. So the lethality is really high. But anyway, being down there it has provided a safe place for people to come. It's very discreet. You can come in the back door.
But at the same time, it's more visible.
Exactly. That's right. So people know where it is. As we're spreading the word, we're making connections with all the downtown businesses. We're actually seeing referrals from other businesses. In fact, I was in Hog and the Hen the other day, which I'm going there way too often for lunch.
So good.
And I actually heard someone at the front, at the cash register, telling someone, well, you should go walk down to Hilltop, because that's part of what I think they do, and they just moved down here. So I'm like, okay, check.
Great.
One of the things that we wanted to have happen. So we're now fully moved in, and I think it has helped our culture, even when we're having our residential program. So, we talked about last time, we had the fountains, the commons, the life adjustment program, and a senior daybreak program that serves seniors and also folks with traumatic brain injury. And so as even the staff are coming down to do training and other stuff, it gives them a chance to intermingle with our community program. So, parent support, supervised parenting, kind of all the safety net programs that you would think of as a human service agency.
I love the fact that you are talking about the culture, because I I know how important that is for us to be together. And in this age of technology where it's easy to do things digitally in so many ways, but you're a service organization and you're a person-to-person organization.
Yep.
And so to have your staff and employees together is really a great thing.
Yeah, you're right. We're a people organization, people first organization. And so being physically together is important. The flexibility that we've gotten with being able to work more remote has been amazing, so if you need to be home for some reason, or you got a sick dog, whatever, and you can actually still get some work done, we are allowing that to happen. But primarily we're together because the people that we serve, we're meeting them face to face. So we should be face to face together also.
Yeah. So over 100 employees down there. How many different programs are in the Hilltop Community Resources umbrella?
I think about 27 total, and that includes programs in Montrose and Delta. So we have very similar community-based programs in those communities, not all of them, and they all work together. We like to say we're one community services program, even though we have multiple locations. So even our managers work across counties and across communities, also as a way to build some consistency and like, okay, this is how we do things, to build the culture, as you said. Part of that is, are we demonstrating similar behaviors? And that's one of the things that we want to see from people. But everything but the programs that I listed, the residential programs and the day program, they're all going to be, and they are on that 359 Main Street campus. The only other alternative or other one that's not down there is we have a day school, an alternative school, which has therapy along with education for kids that are really struggling with behavioral health or mental health issues. So,
And post-pandemic, a lot of kids really struggled in the school system and finding traditional models not suiting them anymore. So that's a great thing to have some more options.
Yeah, and we're going to move that program over into our old administrative office. So it's going to be a very nice setting for them too, with kind of playground stuff for them to play on. But that program's been full. It's middle school, mainly middle school kids. And of course, we work very closely with the school district around who's in and how do we get kids transitioned back into traditional classrooms.
So will you give us a little history of Hilltop? And I know we talked about it a little bit last time, but I think it's fascinating how it got going and how much it's grown over the years.
Yeah, so when Hilltop first started, so we just finished celebrating our 75th year. So we started in 1950. And it was one person serving folks that were impacted by polio, so kids and families impacted. And over the years, so, would serve a kid or a family, they would see some improvement, but then maybe they needed longer rehab. So it's like, okay, well, there's no place to send them. So then we got more into the rehab business, and that expanded to the point that we had a rehab hospital. So if you know where the St. Mary's Life Center is on 12th and Patterson, that actually was Hilltop's. That's where we had a rehab hospital with the pool and everything in it. A lot of people that grew up here took lessons, I think, because they had a heated pool. But at some point along the way, St. Mary's decided that they were going to expand their rehab services. And so it's like, okay, well, they're our primary referral source. We need to do something. So we actually work directly with St. Mary's. This is one of the things that's part of Hilltop's history is we try not to duplicate or compete unless it's absolutely necessary or we feel like there's a gap in services. So we work with them, and they purchased our whole rehab business. We took those resources and expanded the stuff that we were doing residentially for folks with brain injury, and that's a very similar story. We would get folks to a place where they had reached their peak of rehab. They would go home, but still behaviorally
not
or
be
medically,
able to function.
Really tough, and with families that loved them and wanted to keep them, but just could not. And so we built out the Bacon residential campus with the help of the Bacon Family Foundation. And so we have almost 90 people now that are on that campus. We were doing that. Then we got into assisted living for a very similar reason. There was no place for seniors to go locally. So, for people that needed assisted living were having to move out of the community and move away from their families and their support network. So that was a way for us to do that. So we opened the fountains and then eventually the commons and then all the independent living cottages around those. And then the Women's Resource Center, which was on 11th in Colorado, which was kind of a traditional human services support, doing a lot of family interventions, a lot of early childhood work. They were going to close, and they approached us and said, we're tired. We need someone to help us. The board, their executive director had left, and so we ended up merging with the Women's Resource Center and becoming a family resource center. So that's really how we got into doing all the stuff that now is on Main Street.
Yeah.
And that has just grown over the years because one of the things that we really like to do is convene people in the community around problems. So if there's a problem, we say, hey, how can we solve this as a community? Sometimes that's helping someone else meet the need, but sometimes it's been us figuring out how to open a program. So.
And how do you assess that? Is that something that you schedule? Every quarter you do an assessment on what are the needs in the community, or you wait for someone to bring an issue to you?
We do really three things. One is sometimes someone just walks in, or one of our employees has an issue that they say, I have tried to get something to happen with this, and everyone tells me there's no service for this. And so it's like, okay, well, are you sure? So then we would pull people together. There's also a healthcare leadership consortium that meets on a monthly basis, and that's leaders from all the major healthcare organizations, so us, St. Mary's, Community, Hope West, Department of Human Services, Mind Springs, all those, well, not Mind Springs now, it's now something. Yeah.
I can't remember either.
Yeah, I'm just glad that they're still open. But so, we meet, and that's one of the conversations that happens there is, one, trying to anticipate if we see that there's a need coming, and then responding. So our most recent acquisition actually came to us from the chair of their board. It was the Caris organization, the folks that provided the house and many other kind of housing resources for young adults.
Young adults who were living on the streets or
at risk of that. And so they came to us and said, hey, we lost our executive director. We're struggling. Their founder had moved out of the community. And so at first we stepped in as doing technical assistance, sent some of our leadership over there and our clinical director. And then during that process, it became clear to them that the organization would be better off if it was under Hilltop's umbrella. And so then we started a whole process of, okay, well, what does that mean? One, does it fit our mission? That's the first thing we ask. And it's like, okay, well, it pretty clearly does. And then do we feel like we can do it well? Can we find the employees to help deliver that service? And then can we figure out a way for it to be financially viable? And so checked all those boxes. And then, so here we are. And we have really expanded the number of the amount of services we're providing for folks experiencing homelessness. So we have a street outreach program for young adults. The house is really focusing on young adults, that what traditionally was teens, but it really was not serving very many teens. And so the need has been with young adults. We're converting another program that they had called Asset House. That's going to, again, be more short-term shelter for young adults, especially as homeward bound. I'm sure you read that in the news that they've been struggling as an organization.
Yes.
So that's another place where there's a consortium of folks that they brought together from multiple organizations, us, Joseph Center, some of the foundations, all in a consortium to try to help figure out, okay, what do we do? How do we help them, or how do we replace the services?
Well, can you give us a little bit of an update on what you think the state of our community is in regards to the unhoused and what the next steps are? Because it's been an ongoing issue that it's not easy
it's not.
to come up with solutions.
No, we are no different than really any place in the country right now. I mean, I don't know how much you've traveled around lately, but there are a lot of people that are unhoused all over the country, and especially a spike after the pandemic. So I'm not totally sure what's going to happen with Homeward Bound. I think, they're looking at every option. I do know that, and trying to figure out how do we preserve as many of the core services as possible. Frankly, the traditional short-term shelter model in a big building with, 80, 90, 100, 120 people, that model is really, really difficult to support. One, it's difficult to operate. And then financially, it's just really challenging to support. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with that portion of their programming. They also have a family shelter, which has been very successful.
Very successful, yes.
And then they have more long-term housing for folks, both in that Pathways Village area. And so I feel pretty good that something can come together to support them. But yeah, I mean, I know the city is really trying to take a leadership role around housing. And again, they have formed a coalition with all of us as providers at the table, which I think is great. Mike Bennett's been great to work with on that. So I feel hopeful that as a community, we'll do what we can do. I don't think it'll be enough. I mean, I think we will still have people, living on the street.
Yeah, eliminating that is next to impossible.
Yeah, next to impossible. Yeah. But I think for people that are in a place that with enough support, they can maybe get themselves into some permanent housing or at least semi-permanent housing, have a better health, track to health, especially physical health and mental health. It's worth doing regardless.
At least there are some programs that allow steps to be taken.
Exactly.
If they are willing to get them back on the right track.
Yep. And that's one of the things that we really believe in. One, we treat adults like adults, even if they're young adults. And we just try to stand beside them and say, okay, what do you need today? How do we help you get to that next step? And as they're talking, if they're like, well, I'm worried about violence or whatever, it's like, okay, well, we could help you come up with a plan. Like, let's start to talk about how do you get yourself in a position where you could be safer. And then if, things go well, you get them coming in daily, and then you get them in an apartment, and then get them out on their own. So yeah.
You mentioned the senior housing, and assisted living. Seems like you started a pretty good trend here in the Grand Valley. Who knew it would be such a big business?
Yeah, it is, and the Fountains is almost completely full. The Commons, I think we're at about 80% census, so it's good. But it's not for everyone, and that's where, our services, both independent and assisted living, are mostly private pay. So they're, you need some resources to be able to afford to live there. And it is expensive because it's very staff intensive. That's 90% of the cost in those is just you have people giving you hands-on help. So there have been other people move to town. What I would like to see us continue to work on is more of a continuum, because we don't have a lot for folks that are on Medicaid. One, because it is almost impossible to do financially, to pay for those services. So, but that's something that's on our radar. It's not just on ours. I think everyone that's in serving seniors is very interested. Like, how do we build out the continuum a little more?
Yeah, that's a challenge for sure. Yeah. You mentioned earlier that there's some rise in partner
violence.
Yeah. I hate hearing that. Yep. Are there any studies that show what that may be attributable to?
There aren't right now, but I know that people are looking into that because we've seen actually a reduction in crime statewide. The one area that hasn't is aggravated assault, and a lot of that is in intimate partner violence or partner violence. There's a lot of stress going on right now. A lot of their traditional things, anything that
financial stress,
exactly, anything that increases your stress, your concern, your feeling of hopelessness, or I'm not sure how I'm going to make it through the next day, that usually attributes to more violence.
Are there any other trends you're seeing through some of your other programs, or things that are surprising you right now, either in a positive direction or negative? Yeah,
on the negative side is just the general increase in concern from folks that are from the immigrant community, whether they're here legally or not. We have had to work a lot harder to engage participants, especially from Latin American countries, because they're just not sure. So we go out of our way to say, yes, we're a safe spot to come and seek services. We're going to them to try to get them connected with services. So that's something, and we're not the only ones that are dealing with that. On the positive side, Yeah, I think maybe last time I was here, I talked about the fact that we as a company are going to work more on philanthropy with the main goal of giving folks an opportunity to contribute and to achieve some outcomes maybe that they're interested in, but they don't want to work in that environment or they already have a job. So being able to contribute to Hilltop and have that turn into outcomes, and we're seeing like a lot of positive results around that where people are engaging and they're getting it and they're excited about what we're telling them that their dollars are achieving. I mean, even the Circle Fund dollars, like the next time you're over there, I need you to walk you around upstairs and look at the family, especially the family services area and the families that are in there and the kids that are playing in the playroom. I think you would get that sense of, okay, I know what my dollars went to, or even the other realtors that contributed to that. So so we are seeing positive movement in that area.
And are you counting numbers of people that walk in the door? And has that changed since you're in one location as opposed to different facilities?
It hasn't changed. I mean, I don't see enough of a trend yet to be able to say that. But I will say, and this is not the first time that it happened, but it was so cool to see it play out in person just this week. Someone walked in. She was very confused, disoriented, wasn't sure what to do, wasn't even sure how to explain what she needed. But she sat down with some of our folks in the lobby, and as they were talking it through, she just said, "Well, I didn't know where to go, but I knew that Hilltop helps people, and I saw your sign on Main Street." I was like, "There you go, check." That's exactly what we want to see happen. So anecdotally, yes.
And that's what I was going to ask too. For people that are not sure where to turn, they can just walk in the door and say, "I don't know if this is your game, but I need some help in this area."
Yeah, pretty. We get calls all the time or walk-ins, and people are like, "I'm not really sure if you guys do this," and sometimes we don't. But part of our value is we say, "Well, talk to me about what you need." And we know that. We know how to get you connected with that. Hang on one second, or come back. Let's make a phone call together. We'll get you connected with that agency or that service. But a lot of times, because of the breadth of services, there's something that we could do for them, some connection that we could build, and that's our mission: connection, community, and belonging.
Community belonging.
Yep. So regardless of whether or not we serve you long term, we want to get you connected and get you a part of a community. And then, ultimately for us, if you come seek services for us, we want you to have that sense of belonging, that you're not alone, that we're right there, we're right beside you, and you have other people that are dealing with the exact same thing. Yeah.
How unique is Hilltop amongst communities of our size?
It's funny that you asked. We had a board meeting this morning, and someone on the board said, "Can you send us a list of other organizations like Hilltop? Because, it's like we want to know how to compare." And it's like, can't really do it. I mean, I'm sure there probably are. I'm not aware of any, not with the breadth of services that we have.
Because typically the different services tend to be siloed among organizations, right? And you have so much under one umbrella.
Yeah, right. And sometimes that's good. If you're an individual, you have a passion about one particular cause, and you start a shelter for cats. Yep, that's your cause. Great. And it's really important. Like, okay, there's no need to start serving dogs and, do so. But yeah, that's one of the things. I mean, part of our philosophy of trying to fill gaps. So, if you think of a safety net, you want the net to be completely filled out so that people don't fall through. And that's part of what we try to do. And again, sometimes that's just saying, "Hey, how can we help you expand your services?" Or, "Did you know that there's this funding source out there?" We act as an intermediary a lot of times. But if it's not, it's like, okay, well, should we do this? Does it fit in our mission? Can we pull it off? And we can't be all things to all people, but yeah, it's also, I think I maybe said this last time, it's part of why we have so much longevity at our company, because we have about 500 employees, and you can work in one department and be like, "Okay, I think I'm done doing this," and just walk across the hall and basically start a new career. Yeah. We have one of our managers in our IT department. She started in the kitchen at one of our assisted living communities. So, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
You talked about the healthcare consortium that you have here.
Yeah.
What other ways do you work with some of the bigger organizations in town, including the city and the county
Yeah.
and the governments and all the cities in the community to make sure you're meeting needs?
Yeah. Well, and we're fortunate. The city actually just provided us some services to help with our Connections program, which is our housing services, especially for young adults. And that came out of been a convening where we've met with Ashley Chambers, their person from the city that really has the point with housing and homelessness. So we're just sitting at the table sometimes. There's a behavioral health group that meets monthly with that same goal, where they're coming together to share from multiple backgrounds, including people that are participants, to say, okay, what's working, what's not working, try to demystify how do you access services, and then prop up things that need to be propped up. So that's one of the, I feel like we're unique on the Western Slope. Maybe it's because of our size. Maybe it's because we've always had to fight a little bit for resources in the state, is that we've done a pretty good job of coming together and not just competing with each other. If you're in a really big community with, a lot of resources and a lot of participants, you can sit in your office and say, well, if people want to use this, they'll use this.
And there's enough population that it's not a big deal.
Exactly. And it also brings some risk, because you have to be willing to sit at the table with another organization and say, yeah, you're right. I don't think we're the best at that. You guys are way better. Why don't you expand, what you're doing, and let us go do something else?
I love the collaboration that I've seen. Yeah. I mean, since I do the podcast, I talk to a lot of leaders in different organizations, and that word comes up over and over and over again. And I think it's something we can be really proud of in this community, that we collaborate among organizations. And I love seeing, the Chamber and GJEP and Downtown Development Authority, and how all those entities are working better together than ever.
Yeah, the incubator. Yeah.
Yes, and the incubator too. The public health department, we heard a lot about that, when they they hired somebody to kind of be in charge of like trails, which is such a great thing. Yes, that is all about health, isn't it?
Yeah.
What other things are they doing at the county or city level that are kind of dovetailing? Is there anything else you can think of?
Yeah, well, I mentioned the housing. I think that's been the big one lately. I know they do work very closely with public health. Unfortunately, we have a new director, Xavier. He's now announced, or he has left, but there's a great interim person that's in there now, and they have a really solid board. I think the way the city and the county have come together, even around some things with the Outdoor Rec Coalition, the ORC, all the things that we could do to help with the built environment. So how does our city look? How does our county look? How accessible are the trails? And I do think that the city, especially the city right now, has been very active and involved in that.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, what else would you like to share about Hilltop Community Resources with our listeners today?
I would just encourage folks, if you haven't had a chance to come down and see our new space, love to take you on a tour, or you can just come down there and talk to anyone. They can explain more of what we do. We just finished open enrollment for our health access program. So we're the health access site. So we help people get signed up on health insurance, which there's been a lot of talk around.
That's wonderful. I didn't know that.
Yep. So that's another place where we serve everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And we have people that speak Spanish if you need translation. Yeah, and there's still, that is one of the things right now is, and this is always the case a little bit if you're in a nonprofit, that the environment changes and the funding stuff changes, and you're not sure, but there's a lot of uncertainty right now. And so that's part of what we're trying to do, is to the degree that we can provide some people with some security and some certainty. So.
Wonderful. Well, I appreciate you coming back to talk with us again. I think that Hilltop is just a gem in our community, and you help so many people, and we're thrilled to have helped in any way. And I've not taken a tour of the building yet, so you can count on me coming down soon and knocking on your office door and getting a tour.
Yeah, and you're a personal investor on your own. You invested in the capital campaign, so I will mention that we still do have the capital campaign going.
Oh, good.
It's obviously more difficult if you're already in the building to get people to invest in that. But still we would love to raise, we'd love to raise another $1 million, which we're going to work on doing. That just takes more burden off our programs. So we're keeping that going. Our philanthropy department has grown, and they're having, like I said, some good success. So if you want to invest in what we're doing, love to invite anyone. And then, Christi, we got to get you down and tour. Let's do it.
Okay. And if people want to learn more about the philanthropy program, or are there volunteer opportunities?
Yes.
With Hilltop?
Yeah. Mary, our volunteer director, would be very upset with me if I didn't mention that. Yeah. And that's another place where we've seen a lot of growth is in volunteers.
Oh, good.
I think a lot of people are moving to this community and maybe aren't connected to other people yet. And that's a great way to meet people and get connected is to volunteer, or they're recently retired, or, they might be a young person that has a passion in a certain area. Yeah. If you just go to our website,
which is
Hilltop, www.hilltop. I don't know.
Do I have it on here?
Hilltop.
Let's see.
I should know that.
Is it .org?
It's a good thing I'm not in the marketing department.
Htop.org.
Htop.org. Thank you. If you just Google Hilltop, Mesa County, or Montrose Delta, you'll find the resources.
Yes.
It's easy to navigate. We just redid it, and we can get you connected. So
okay. Yep. Htop.org, everybody. Thank you, Will Hayes.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. And thanks, everybody, for watching and listening. And we'll see you next time on the Full Circle podcast. Thanks for listening. This is Christi Reese signing out from the Full Circle podcast.